favorite things to do on this channel is to go through and catch corporations in flat out lies, and they do it all the time. We've seen corporations and companies in the gaming space do everything they can to squeeze more money out of you in every possible way. And the two favorite words they use by doing that are called market conditions, and boy, do they love using that term. We've seen PlayStation increase the cost of their consoles. We've seen Xbox do the same thing twice now in this exact generation. We saw Nintendo do it to old 7-year-old hardware of the previous gen to make the Switch 2 look even better for purchase right now. And we also saw games increase their price to $70 and then again to $80. Thanks, Nintendo. What we're seeing right now, though, is just the actual beginning of what companies and corporations will be doing, trying to squeezing out every single red cent from your pocket that they possibly can, while giving you less in return every single time. And honestly, it's never been more in your face right now than it was just a couple of days ago over the past weekend with PlayStation themselves. According to IGN, Sony is calling the PlayStation 5 generation of consoles its most successful to date after reaching a milestone of $136 billion so far, just under 5 years into its lifespan. Wait a minute. Hold on. Wait. Are you kidding me? The same PlayStation that went around and increased the prices of all their PS Plus services around the entire world, they're making more money than ever before? You're kidding me, right? This has to be like some kind of like weird, sick joke. Oh, that same PlayStation that had a PS5 Pro for $700 sold the actual disc drive to you separately for $80 and then went around and increased the price of that console another $50. They've made $136 billion this generation alone. It's their most profitable ever. Market conditions. This company is lying to your face, directly into your mouth, and people are like, yeah, bro, I can't wait to buy more PlayStation. And there are even some clowns out right now thinking the next PS6 is going to be cheaper than anything else out in the market right now. We are definitely going to see these companies do more to try and squeeze more money out of you, and it happens every single time. The fact that they're bragging about this on a keynote speech after getting on their hands and knees, begging you not to be mad at them about market conditions in order to go ahead and increase the price of their consoles 5 years into the gen when they should have had a price drop in the first place. I just don't get it. I just literally don't get it. And you know the same thing is happening with Xbox. Even though those consoles aren't selling as much as PlayStation's are, you can bet your sweet bippy they're making a massive profit off of them, and increasing the price of those consoles twice in a single generation is definitely going to show they're going to be making more money. This basically proves one thing and one thing only. This industry is absolutely completely in every sense of the word. Everything is so screwed right now because so many people are just more willing to call you a brokey in the first place rather than to actually sit with you and say, oh no, hold on, this shouldn't cost this much money right now. No, market conditions, that's a bullshit term. It shouldn't be being used. And no, you shouldn't be raising your prices. Stop trying to blame tariffs either, because clearly tariffs weren't the problem with all the money being made right now. But you know what? Let's see what the article had to say from IGN and go from there. Sony has called the PS5 its most financially successful console generation to date. This was revealed by Sony Interactive Entertainment CEO Hideaki Nishino during his recent keynote speech delivered in Japanese at Tokyo Game Show. According to Nishino's presentation, Sony's Game and Network Services, GNS division, which includes Sony Interactive Entertainment, has generated $136 billion in sales during the PS5 generation so far, 2020 onwards. This surpasses sales made during the reign of all previous Sony consoles, making the PS5 the most successful generation to date. Remember when I kept talking about how the 2020s and the early lockdown of everyone being stuck inside for those 2.5 to 3 years was as a massive catalyst moving forward in the gaming space, there it is right now in front of you. We are seeing the entire world move at an accelerated pace because of all the money that was generated during those first 2 to 3 years inside of every single industry. And now every game corporation has to go through and figure out a way to make the line go up above that entire time when everybody's finally back outside. And that's where things become strange, because what we're seeing right now is the fact that they can raise the cost of consoles and people are still buying them. They can raise the price of games and people are still buying them. They're going through and basically manipulating the entire market and using an anomaly in the gaming space that everybody was impacted by to go through and generate more profit year over year, quarter over quarter, and time over time. And this is exactly why you're seeing so many corporations and companies like PlayStation, like Xbox, start moving their games to other platforms, because the line has to go up. And you can cope yourself all you want. It's just for games. It's just live service games. No, everyone is going to be doing this at some point or another. The thing is, though, how is it going to be moving forward and what's going to happen next generation? We've talked about how next gen could in fact be a massive cost increase, moving into the possible $1,000 territory of actual consoles right now. And in my opinion, at that price perspective, you are looking at something that is way too expensive for what people consider to be the console ease of use, where at that price point you may as well get yourself a really great PC in the first place. And making things even weirder, we're seeing GPU prices actually go below MSRP right now. So things are actually in the opposite direction, and things are not looking good overall in the gaming space right now for consoles and even the AAA market. The article continues by saying, though, in comparison, GNS made $107 billion from 2013 to 2019, aka the PS4 generation. The graph revealed that over the past 31 years since original PS1 launch, each subsequent console generation has brought in more money than the last. For reference, sales during the PS3 lifecycle were $71 billion, the PS2 $44 billion, and the PS1 $24 billion. Seeing the jumps over and over from each generation of PlayStation, from every console release, basically goes to show the line, again, has to keep moving upward. And if there's any sort of downturn in terms of any sort of sales, regardless of whether it's hardware, regardless of whether it's software, these companies are going to do whatever they can to keep that money flowing. But what it does show to me is something very simple and plain. All of these excuses that we've heard multiple times before, from all the other executives multiple times before, and even multiple fanboys, does not hold any water whatsoever. This idea and concept of, oh, support the developers, buy your games day one, buy the console at full price, buy it day one to buy it cheaper. All this goes to show is these companies have brainwashed a huge amount of people in the gaming industry as actual quote unquote fans to go through and turn around and get their pockets prolapsed like Goatsy on a consistent basis, while at the same time shutting down all those studios, closing down projects, and at the same time not even providing you with a good library or catalog of games to even play on that system. If you don't believe me, take a look at the PS2 library of exclusives all the way down to what the PS5 has right now. It's honestly a sham, a scam, if you will, at the fact that people are paying more money for less content that you can get anywhere else. Why even buy a PlayStation 5? Just like everyone says, why even buy an Xbox? The majority of those games are playable on my PC, and some are even now moving to other platforms as well. This has mostly become, to me, what's called the Apple effect, where people aren't actually buying these products because they provide a good service or reason to buy. They're buying them because it's become a status symbol now. That's why the Pro model even exists. Even though right now we're seeing many games on the Pro itself for a massive high sticker price value not even provide a good benefit, or even sometimes having a worse performing experience overall, even with the higher price tag. Look at this response by Thabet Yusuf on Twitter as well, saying, ironically, it's the worst generation in terms of games variety, number of releases, and quality. Plus, I don't think we have gotten a true current gen game yet, from PlayStation at least. Here's Lord Mrem saying the PS2 was the most successful. PS5 is just successful for being overpriced. Here's Wretched Neat saying most expensive console, 50% of player base still on PS4, 1 or 2 actual exclusives, quote unquote successful. Like I said before, if you compare the PlayStation 2 to the PS5 and the depth of the library, it is incredibly vast and cavernous compared to what you're getting right now, to what we used to get back then. The variety was better, the amount of games were better, and they were cheaper and came out more often, and games back then were still, even at the moment in time, pushing the envelope consistently, whether it's on graphics, audio, gameplay, and etc. Things were far better in the past, and even though I am an UNC, or shall I say a UNC by the actual meme, because I didn't know what UNC actually meant until about 2 days ago, so that's a rough it's been a rough couple of days, y'all, trust me. I really feel like at the moment in time, there's no need for even someone like myself to buy a PlayStation 5. Even if those games weren't on PC, there hasn't been enough variety in that console in the first place to provide me with what I would consider to be a good reason for purchase. And then increasing the cost of those consoles year over year in this generation and not having a reduction makes me want to buy them even less. Why spend $750 on a PS5 Pro when I can clearly get a better GPU on that in the back end? And even right now, my GPU completely smokes the PS5 Pro, so why even spend the money on that in the first place when I have plenty of other games to play? There's going to be some pushback, though, on that first comment talking about we haven't seen a true generational game right now, and I feel like the reason for that is because ever since we've gotten to this generation from the PS4, we've basically seen the actual window of jumps inside of like actual graphical fidelity or gameplay basically shrink to almost 0 to none. We've had the whole bullshit argument about the whole McCracken compression and SSD technology, which basically was just bullshit in a can if you think about it. And then at the same time, we haven't seen any massive graphical leaps that we've seen recently. When in reality, though, the only graphical leap that we've seen is getting ray tracing into our games, having to go ahead and stop the actual gameplay, go and zoom 300% to see a reflection off of the back of a suit and of a character in Spider-Man, and then be like, oh yeah, that's totally worth it. And then get the Pro, spend even more money on that, not even get the good benefits of having the Pro in the first place, getting a worse experience in some games as well, and then having to deal with Unreal Engine 5, massive amounts of stutter, shader cache compilation, and even low frame rates for a more expensive console. So what are we even doing this generation in the first place? But things get even weirder because Xbox generational hater Mike Ibarra said this, quote tweeting the actual IGN article saying, but hey, the console market isn't a successful business. It is if you do it right. With Hellblazer on Twitter replying, the bitter X. And Mike Ibarra's reply being, your console is dead. Okay, all right, that was really what, this is what we're gonna do now? The UNC status is in effect? Yeah, I'm gonna use that twice in this video, don't worry. We now have ex-vice presidents going on Twitter and console warring, talking about, your console is dead. That's how we're gonna do things right now because Xbox didn't go in the direction that you wanted. I love this, honestly. It really goes to show that these kinds of idiots and morons, even if they are ex-vice presidents, by the way, which is the funniest fucking thing of all time if you ask me, going through and acting like petulant children in the first place. And what's even better is all the PlayStation fanboys getting behind them and being like, yeah, Mike, you tell him, bro. Yuck. Actual childlike behavior in the first place. Someone who is in fact a VP right now of another company going around and acting like this is honestly ridiculous. Talk about console wars and being successful in the industry when Mike has no idea what is even happening right now, seeing as how he doesn't even work in the fucking industry anymore. And to make matters even worse, if it wasn't for Mike Ibarra, Blizzard wouldn't be in the state it is right now. Way to go ahead and run another company into the fucking ground, you clown. But if Mike feels like the PlayStation 5 is the most successful thing in the industry if you do it right, then explain to me why they had to go ahead and raise the price due to market conditions and then increase those prices on the customer and consumer, yet turn right around and talk about making record revenue and profits because this is the most profitable generation for PlayStation. Oh, isn't that weird? When you scam the customer and consumer, when you charge more for your consoles, when you don't give a price drop, when you go ahead and make a $700 piece of plastic that sometimes performs even worse than the original model, when you go ahead and raise the price of that console as well, increase the price of all the services, increase the cost of games, yeah, you could totally be successful, am I right? Fucking clown, idiot, moron. Yeah, I don't care if you were a VP or not. The thing is, your behavior is honestly stupid. This is coming from a guy who wears a fucking banana suit, by the way. I mean, if you don't believe me how PlayStation is in fact scamming even more people, take a look at this from Eurogamer. Sony has released a revised digital PS5 model in Europe with less storage and a new matte finish, but the price hasn't been reduced. So what you're telling me right now is that PlayStation has launched a model of the same PS5 with a smaller set of storage space, then used cheaper parts to make that actual piece of hardware to go through and sell to you for the same price. Hey, Mike, are you listening? Yeah, you can be successful if you scam your customer on a consistent basis and then raise the price on them and then not reduce it when you're actually making profit hand over fist. Good job! Exactly what we want to see in the gaming industry, am I right? That's going to be the right way of doing things. Yeah, just like Xbox raised the price twice in the console generation, and the first thing you did was turn around and talk about, oh, it's not a pricing problem, it's a profit problem. Exactly. So why is it okay when PlayStation does it, but not when Xbox does it? Uh-oh! Isn't it crazy how we can sit here and go ahead and have actual VPs be literal fanboys in the console gaming space or in the gaming space in general, then act like petulant children all over the place? It makes no sense whatsoever. At least be consistent, Ibarra. That'd be one thing, but you know what? It'd be too bad because you got fired twice. And if you want to talk about actually being successful in the gaming space by doing something different, look what Hazardor Gaming tweeted out as well. Sarah Bond says sales of Xbox Game Pass for the previous fiscal year reached a record high of $5 billion. It's a business that's generating profits. What? Oh, wait, I thought Game Pass was bad for the gaming industry. I thought Xbox wasn't making any money. I thought it wasn't profitable for Game Pass to exist in the first place. I thought my game sales were the only thing to take care of. The fact that right now we're seeing a service that is cheaper than buying a video game to go through and provide a different avenue for customers to go through and play more games. That's a bad thing all of a sudden. And now apparently it's making profits and has $5 billion in revenue. Who could have honestly imagined? Provide a good service for a cheaper price and people in fact use that service and give you the fucking money. The thing is though, it's not all perfect roses for Xbox either, because it turns out the one trick I've talked about for a long time, they're shutting that shit down. According to Wario64, Microsoft Rewards, starting October 1st, users will no longer be able to directly redeem reward points for Xbox Game Pass subscriptions. Users will need to redeem points for Xbox gift cards to cover the cost of a Game Pass sub. This increases points redemptions by at least 6,000 points for 1 month of Game Pass Ultimate. And if you thought I was only going to shit on PlayStation, no, that's not how this goes at all. I crap on everybody on this channel. The thing is, right now, what we're seeing is these companies and corporations record massive amounts of profit, and they are closing down and clamping down on every little leak that is possibly getting them less money quarter over quarter, year over year, fiscal over fiscal, baby. They want to see that red line go up, and Microsoft will go through and cancel games that aren't going anywhere. In fact, they shut down Contraband, and that studio that was making it, Avalanche, they're shutting down studios because of that as well. Then they're going around and clamping down on the actual Game Pass point service that you get by using Bing and the Bing app. So now you got to pay for Game Pass up front, even though they said it was profitable and has made $5 billion in revenue. And then you see other companies like PlayStation raise the cost of their consoles, Nintendo do the exact same thing, and then also raise the cost of video games too. We are seeing the fact that game companies and corporations are screwing consumers and users on a consistent basis, and then turning around, blaming it on market conditions or anything else you want to put the blame on, while at the same time turning back around and saying, guys, this is our most profitable generation of all time. My problem is this and this only. If you're going to record record profits, if you're going to go through and be that kind of company and say, look how great we're doing, then why are you putting the squeeze on the customer and the consumer on a consistent basis? And that's what makes me so mad about this entire thing. It's almost like the entire gaming industry has been lying to your face for decades, and people are now finally starting to wake up about it. But the thing is, there's so many people still asleep at the wheel, basically, saying things like, oh, you're just broke. Get your money up, brokey. Why don't you buy the game day one, support the developers, and then watch them get fired in November, and then have to go through and talk about how your favorite game won't get made anymore because the studio closed down? That's just the most ridiculous thing of all time. These companies, these corporations should not be getting your defense. They should not be getting treated as if they're your best friends, because in the end, all they're trying to do is sneak into your wallet and get more money. And the more people fall for this stuff, hook, line, and sinker, the worse it gets for everybody else in the industry. These consoles should not be costing this much money. These companies should not be using market conditions to raise the price on you and then tell you back to your face, look how much profit we made this past year on this generation alone. Our most profitable ever, boys. And then at the same time, these companies should not say, hey, we're making a profit off of this service, and then they're going to go around, and I guarantee you, you can bet your sweet bippy they'll raise the price of Game Pass 2 and say, guys, look, it's market conditions. We got to raise the price if you want to keep getting these games day one in our service. It's the only way things can move forward. Even though they're turned right around and Scrooge McDuck themselves right back into that pool of actual gold coins while doing backstrokes, while at the same time having a piece of cardboard cover your head trying to stop the rain as you're living in a dystopian cyberpunk nightmare, going through without even having an actual cool coat or walking under neon signs. Go ahead, eat the bugs, live in a pod. That's what they want you to do in the first place. But you know what, ladies and gentlemen, let me know what you guys think about this in the comments section down below. Do you agree? Do you disagree? I want to hear what you guys have to say with this as well. If you want to see more of this kind of content, more PC port reviews, gaming news, Steam Deck videos, fanboy content, my hot takes in the gaming industry, and live streams every Saturday night, 8:45 p.m. Eastern, subscribe to the channel. We're on our way to 95,000 subs, and I just want to say thank you guys so very much. If you want Discord access, it's as low as $1. Just become a YouTube member, and you'll be good to go. Sync your YouTube account to Discord, and you're all set. If you don't want to spend the buck though, don't sweat it. Come on down Saturday nights, 8:45 p.m. Eastern, live right here on this channel as I live stream wearing a banana suit and get insulted by AITTS in front of 700 to 800 people. Trust me, you don't want to miss it. With all that being said though, thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you have a great one, and I'll see you gooners next time. Peace!